How's it going, David Comic Book Investments? So it looks like Sony might be selling the rights to Spider-Man back to Marvel. Yes, if you guys don't know, Sony actually owns the movie rights for Spider-Man. They've owned it since the 90s. That's how they made all these movies. And it's not really part of the MCU, even though it kind of is. They have like kind of a deal. But Sony actually makes all the Spider-Man movies. During the 90s, Marvel's fallen on hard times, and so they're just selling the rights to every character they had, everything, because they're like, well, what are we going to do with it? We're not going to make movies. That'd be preposterous. Why would we do such a thing? So they're selling the rights. That's why a lot of rights existed. For example, the Hulk. Universal owns the distribution rights to Hulk movies, so that's why Marvel can't make their own Hulk movie. They would have to have Universal distribute it, and they don't want to do that. That's just give them free money for nothing. But Sony actually owns the rights to Spider-Man still to this day. A lot of rights have reverted back to Marvel, but Hulk and Spider-Man have not. I mean, X-Men was on Fox originally, so Fox had the rights to X-Men, but then Marvel just bought Fox, and so now they got them back. That's why we're going to get X-Men in the MCU, and I think, what was it? Deadpool was technically the first one. We're going to get more X-Men coming to the MCU, and we'll have an Avengers versus X-Men movie. But yeah, Sony's looking to sell. Even though the Marvel or the Spider-Man movies are vastly very profitable, vastly, all their other stuff is not. It loses money. I mean, it's Craven. They spent like 110, 120 million just on production, and its opening weekend worldwide was 26 million. Now you think, oh, 26 million, that's not that bad. It's all front loaded in the first weekend. Next, it'll just drop more and more. And by the way, the word of mouth has been horrible on this movie. This horrible. Everyone that's seen it does not like it, let alone no one's really even seen it. I haven't even seen it. I thought it could have been good, honestly. And then all the reviews and everyone that I watched it and said it was this terrible, terrible, terrible. So I was like, okay, maybe not. Maybe I'll just wait till it comes on streaming. Yeah, I'll just wait. I can wait. Or maybe I'll just never watch it. I never watched Madam Web. It's just like, why? What's the point? So Sony, outside of Spider-Man, in their Spider-Verse, every other movie has lost hundreds of millions of dollars for them. Just so much money. So they're at this standstill of like, okay, well, the Spider-Man stuff makes money, but that's it. They don't make any money off the toys either. Marvel still owns the rights to the toys, everything else. It's just the movies themselves. And they can only use Spider-Man characters. So you can't have Spider-Man and the X-Men. You can't have Spider-Man with any other character. They had to have belonged in the Spider-Man universe and considered to start in the Spider-Man universe. So I think even that's why Kingpin is in Daredevil. So even though he first appeared in Spider-Man, he was technically like a Daredevil villain-ish for a long time. So there's some like certain characters they can't even use. So beyond Spider-Man, like they don't get the video game money, they don't get anything. So they just get the movies. That's it. That is all they get. And Sony is probably thinking, well, let's sell it for like $8 billion. And we'll get the $8 billion. And what can we do with that $8 billion? And honestly, Spider-Man is probably worth somewhere around that. Let's see. They sold the whole MCU for $4 billion. But this is when the MCU was not in its full capacity. It was doing well. They sold all of Star Wars for $4 billion. And frankly, Star Wars now is definitely not worth that. Well, I'm sure it is in the whole grand scheme of thing. But in terms of like, I think Spider-Man is worth more. The movie rights to Spider-Man is worth more than the movie rights to Star Wars. Now, Star Wars, you got all the toys and everything else. But just the movie rights themselves, I think Spider-Man is definitely worth more than Star Wars. Star Wars is in the toilets. I mean, the Star Wars movies are losing money. I mean, what was the last one? Was it The Rise of Skywalker or whatever? If you probably production budget, add in also like the advertising that they did for it, probably like made a little bit of money, not very much. Because he just double production budget usually for advertising costs. But for a Star Wars movie, come on. I mean, the last Spider-Man movie made, what, 2 point something billion dollars? The last Star Wars movie didn't even crack $1 billion. Let alone you got the Han Solo movie that made like lost money, lost hundreds of millions of dollars. So the Star Wars franchise is in the toilet. So yeah, it's probably going to go billions and billions of dollars to get that rights back. And from Sony's point of view, it's like, well, we could just take that money and we could work on our other franchises. And the problem is they have to release movies or they lose the rights. So forever, even if they have movies that suck and then they keep on sucking, they have to keep on making movies or they lose the rights. So Spider-Man is at its peak, the Spider-Man, not his everyone else, and they can't use that many characters. They tried. That's the thing. It was like, oh, we have the Spider-Man universe. It's huge. It's vast. We can just make movies here, and here. And the only thing that's worked is Spider-Man. Now the Venom movies did work. The first one definitely did. The second one kind of did, and the third one, it made $500 million, but on their huge production budget, and it was profitable, but not like the first one. But everything else that they've made, I mean, they had Edge of the Spider-Verse. That was good. But everything else they made, it's all lost tons and tons and tons of money. So it's not even worth them trying anything else but Spider-Man. So now they're just pigeonholed with just Spider-Man. Not to mention, I don't know why they don't do a Spider-Man Venom movie. They could have done that, but for some reason they don't want to. I don't know why. Because I don't think they can use... Because they entered into some kind of weird deal with Spider-Man where he's part of the MCU. So Sony gets to use some of the MCU characters, but they get to use Spider-Man in the MCU. It's kind of a thing. So maybe Marvel's like, no, we don't want Venom. It'll ruin everything. I don't know. So there's a bunch of deals. So they might think the smart decision is just to sell the Spider-Man rights back to Marvel. They made their money, move on, and yeah. Because again, you make so much money off of toys and merchandising, and they make none of that. They make none of that. None. They only make it off of movies. And yeah. So a lot of times you'll go into a movie knowing that even if this movie kind of sucks, we make all this money on merchandising and toys and all this other stuff. So we can, at least there's another tier of making money, another category that could help alleviate if it's a bomb. But no, they can't do that. So yeah. With these bombs that they've been having, I mean, it's surprisingly. You thought Madam Web was gonna. Oh, that's the peak. That's the peak of the negative peak of bombs. But this Craven movie, which it looked good. It looked good. I will say. I think I was ranting and raving about the trailers. I thought it looked good. I haven't seen it myself, but a lot of people have said, like every single person, not a single person I know who has seen it or online or anything, said it was like, oh, it's actually really good or better than people are saying, or everyone says it's this basically just terrible, which is hard to imagine. Like, how do you make a movie that bad? I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But it makes me not really want to see it. I thought it was going to be John Wick, but Craven style, like Craven the Hunter. I thought he was just going to go like through hallways, just killing people all weird ways with like different weapons. But apparently not. Just bad all the way around, and I guess the action's not even that good, which is a fail. Very much so a fail. So, yeah. So what do you think? How much do you think Spider-Man, the movie rights, are worth? $8 billion? I could see $8 billion. I mean, people say, well, the whole MCU is $4 billion, but that was a million years ago. Things change. Star Wars is $4 billion, but this is Spider-Man. Star Wars, Spider-Man, yes. Spider-Man's older. Spider-Man came out in 1962. Star Wars 1977. So 15 years difference. But also there's... Yeah, I don't know. $8 billion? I mean, that would be a heavy price tag. But Disney, here's the thing, is Disney still gets all the merchandising rights, so they don't even have to, they can go off and still, it's like, how much is the movie rights themselves really worth? Maybe $8 billion is too much now that I think about it, just for the movie rights. I don't know, $4 billion? Probably $4 billion. I don't know. You tell me what you think down below. Have a great day.